what's up and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be giving a review for the NECA Alien Romulus Suspended Lab Xenomorph XX121. Now I know this isn't really like a figure, but I'm not too sure if it's even articulated or not. But I got this at the NECA store when they went on for pre-order. That's when I decided to go ahead and pre-order this, and it's finally arriving, So yeah, I'm definitely happy about having this. And of course, this is based on a scene from the beginning of Alien Romulus. At the opening of the film, we can see that the Xenomorph, the big chap Xenomorph, because this is supposed to be the original Xenomorph from the 1979 Ridley Scott Alien film. This is the same one that Ripley had shot out into space, with her harpoon thing, with her spirit gun, shot it out and it flew out into space, because it got fossilized. I think 20 years later, if I'm not mistaken, the Romulus space station, that crew had found this particular fossil. But then somehow the Xenomorph awakened and got it loose on the ship. But you don't really see that in events of the Alien Romulus film, which I do have right on the 4K Blu-ray. And I did get to see this in the theater too, by the way. But there is a comic book story, like I mentioned before, in other videos, that detail the events of what this particular Xenomorph was doing on the Romulus space station. And then of course, they managed to defeat it, and that's when it ended up looking like this, suspended. They had it hanging up, suspended at the top of the lab or whatever. So yeah, I'm definitely kind of happy about getting this, and I'm gonna get into this right now. As you can see, this is a rather large box right here too. I know even the box that it came in from NECA, it was very large. So I was kind of expecting that it would be pretty large. It doesn't feel heavy, it feels kind of light. But I must admit, I like the packaging for this particular piece. Because you do see that it says Alien Romulus Suspended Lab Xenomorph SS121. So that's pretty cool. And there's images of the figure all around the box and stuff. You can even take another shot of it right there through the window, the back part of it. Even right here on the side. Even at the top it has a window. It does say this includes wall-mountable laboratory ceiling display diorama. So I think that's pretty cool. But again, I like this box though, because I'm still kind of curious about how I'm going to be really displaying this too, Alright. Okay, here's the Suspended Lab Xenomorph figure from NECA. Now, the box still have a background, diorama. I used to show my NECA backgrounds that come with the figures. But I just choose to leave it there because I didn't want to ruin the box, because I really like the box so much, But as you can see, this is how it looks. Now, to think, this is how I have it hanging right now, because they have this design where you can put it on the wall. Because you can tell this is really almost kind of statue with it, almost like a statue, you can just display it hanging on the wall or something like that. But I'm betting that the Xenomorph itself, the big chap, I'm sure it does have articulation in it. But as you can see, I do have it hanging on a Kaiser doll stand right here. That was the only way I could have it where it's hanging up, because I know I use these for my my NECA quarter scale figures. But yeah, this is how it looks up close. And I can see that you can take this on out of here too. I just didn't want to disturb it, because there's all these wires all around it and stuff that's hanging around it. But I guess I probably could, let me see. I didn't really want to disturb it. Take this on out. Because I see they got the arms all wrapped up and everything. I'm sure you can display this however you really wanted to too, once I get there. So I'm going to see. I did want to get a look at the Xenomorph itself, the big chap. See, it does it's kind of hard to, because all these wires and stuff, and I know the wires are even articulated too. So I'm gonna just sit it down like this for a moment. But as you can see, here's the actual Xenomorph itself too. I wanted to give a close-up look at the Xenomorph, where you can see the big chap. You can use the spirit that Ripley shot into it at the end of 1979's Alien, the Ridley Scott film. It's even protruding to the back of the Xenomorph right there. That's why I was kind of curious that the ultimate Xenomorph XX121 figure didn't have this. Why NECA didn't give us this with it. But as you can see, that's it right there. That's pretty cool. You can see how all decayed and all battle damage that the head has become too, like on the Xenomorph. As you can see, you can really see the skull like real good now. Oh, I noticed that the jaw is even articulated too. It looks like there's a, I'm not too sure. Yeah, I think the tongue is in there too, but I'm not too sure if you can really pull it out. I didn't want to disturb it too much, but you can see right there that the arm has melted off the Xenomorph too as well. And as you can see, it's also missing like a leg too. Even the tail was all like damaged too, and it's like acid blood all around like the Xenomorph too. It does like this arm is kind of articulated. I just didn't want to bother, but you can like kind of move them like it's kind of limited though. I noticed this arm can go around a little more. Looks like the head can turn, but it's kind of like limited though. But I still think it's cool that we have like the that spear that Ripley shot into it right there. Yeah, that's awesome. It's pretty cool looking. I see it's articulated too. You can like move it. And this right here is the suspended like lab, like rooftop right here. Well, lab, you know, that you can hang the Xenomorph in. And these wires are like you can bend them and stuff. They have like a wire in it so you can bend it all around. Because you know what you would do is take the Xenomorph right here. And you just would like put it on the side here. I'm assuming you can really do it like however you want. You know, you can just have it like hanging inside here. Which is pretty cool. You know, but another thing I do notice too, right here, like on the back, you can see like the slots if you want to hang this like on the wall. So I think that's pretty cool how NECA did that too. So if you want, you can like hang this on the ceiling. Like you got like some nails in the wall, you can prop this on the wall. So it's pretty cool. But I guess this is kind of a cool way to display the suspended lab Xenomorph. But now this right here is the Xenomorph. The same particular alien was supposed to be the same one, like the big chap, you know. But it's like this is how it was. Now we didn't get to see this in the film. Oh, that's spoiler territory. Like if you haven't seen it. But like I said, the details like in this comic book, it details like the rampage that this Xenomorph XX121 went on before it ended up being like this. After, you know, they fought it off or whatever, then it ended up like this. It details like those particular events. But like I was saying, one of the things I think is kind of interesting and odd about it, NECA didn't put like the harpoon or the spear in this bag that Ripley shot into it, you know, like. But this one does have it. I'm glad they did include that. I thought that was pretty cool, because even in the comic book, this issue when it's like running around terrorizing like the Romulus space station, you can see like the spear thing still in it as it's like attacking people and stuff like that. You can see that it still had the that arrow thing with a spear that Ripley shot in it. So I thought that was kind of cool. But this is that same like figure, you know. And then right here, as you can see, is the scorched Xenomorph. Like from Alien Romulus, from like NECA, because you know all these are from like NECA, you know, kind of. This was like the alien that was in the Alien Romulus film, where you said the Xenomorph or Xenomorph that was in the Alien like Romulus film. You know, there were like other like Xenomorphs and Xenomorphs. You know, this is the one that NECA based this particular figure on, because it got like scarred up on his head, you know. So yeah, alright. Okay, there's the NECA Alien Romulus suspended lab Xenomorph figure. I think this is a pretty cool piece, and I'm sure you will have to be really like a fan of this particular version of the Xenomorph from Alien Romulus, or just a fan of the Alien Romulus film, which I do have right on 4K Blu-ray. I did get to see this like in the theaters too as well. So yeah, like I was saying, I think that's pretty cool that NECA gave us this particular piece where, like I said, if you're really a big fan of that, because this is, don't forget, if for people who haven't seen it or anything like that, this is like the original like big chap alien from 1979. It's like alien film, like Ridley Scott's film. You know, this is the same one that Ripley shot out at the end of the film with that spear gun that flew out into space, because it was floating around in space and got fossilized. I think like a couple of decades later or 20 years later, it ended up at the Romulus space station, and somehow it was like resurrected and wreaked havoc all over the space station. But they managed to take it out, and once they took it out, they put it up in the ceiling like that. I told you, well, I mentioned earlier, this particular comic book right here, which is like a standalone like one issue for Alien Romulus. It details the events of what this particular Xenomorph was doing when it was caused like all the rage and like rampage and all that on the space station. So that's pretty cool, you know. And I'm glad that NECA did include like the spear harpoon through it. That's kind of awesome because the regular Xenomorph XX121 figure, it didn't have it, but that's okay though, you know. But still, I guess I would definitely recommend that for fans of Alien Romulus, especially this particular like scene, because this is like the original like big chap, you know, that had came back, you know. Even though we don't really see them moments in the film, you see this moment in the film, like kind of the opening up where it's like hanging up in the ceiling. But in that, you know. But I still definitely recommend this. And I got this from the NECA store. That's why I had mine on pre-order when it first went up for pre-order. So yeah, I think this is pretty cool. It's awesome. So yeah, this is the NECA Alien Romulus Suspended Lab Xenomorph XX121 figure. Please leave a comment and subscribe to it as well.